Everyone, I'm Stacy. Welcome back to my channel, Time to Teach. Are you having problems in a classroom with behavior, or do you need some help with classroom management? Well, if you do, that's what this video is about today. So today I would like to share with you some ideas and procedures and different types of structures that I use in the classroom. And I will be referencing one of my favorite classroom management books. You can also find this author online. He does have videos as well, and this is Tools for Teaching, and it's written by Fred Jones. The book was written back in 2007, and I know that seems like a long time ago. However, the ideas that he shares in here and the routines for your classroom are relatable. Even though it is an older resource, these things you can start using this year. So in this book, he breaks it into 3 sections: discipline and instruction and motivation. So with motivation, he talks about engagement and so forth. So I would like to break up those 3 sections for you and just give you kind of some notes and guidelines to help you with each of those structures within classroom management. So we're going to go ahead and get started. With classroom management, the most important thing to keep in mind, the most important thing, if you have a pen and paper as I do, take notes. The most important thing is you have to mean business. And when I say mean business, that doesn't mean you have to be mean or disrespectful or sarcastic. Oh my goodness, no. You just have to say what you mean and mean what you say. So on the very first day of school, I'm looking at my notes because I want to make sure that I give you the most important tips from these 3 sections of this book. This book is all about teachers and students. It's for teachers and students. So the teachers must enjoy learning. The students must enjoy learning. The teachers must enjoy teaching and learning. In order to do that, there has to be structure, routines, procedures, expectations, and goals for you and your students. In order for both of you to enjoy the classroom, and you want to come every day and they want to come every day, there has to have routines, procedures, structure, goals, and expectations, and they have to know what those expectations are. Students know how to behave, but on that first day of school, they are going to know if they have to behave for you or they don't have to behave for you. By that first day, they will know. They will know what they can get away with and how they can push your buttons. They will know. So that first day of school, you are going to own that classroom or the students are going to own the classroom. So I want to own the classroom. So you're going to be in charge or they're going to be in charge by the end of that first day. Okay? So in order for the kids to behave, like I said, you have to mean business. Mean what you say and say what you mean. So on the very first day, of course, you're going to start with your expectations. If you expect your students to learn, they will learn. If you expect your students to behave, they will behave. But if you don't set any guidelines for them, of course, they're going to talk and disrupt you and do whatever they want because they don't know what they're supposed to be doing. So in this, I've taught K through 5, but this goes for any grade level. Students have to know what you expect of them or they're just going to mess around, and that is just human nature. You can't blame them if they don't know what they're supposed to do when they walk in the morning. If they don't have a morning routine, then they're just going to put their stuff away and sit there and talk. If they don't know when they're supposed to sharpen their pencil, then they're going to get up and sharpen it anytime. So there has to be expectations. And you have to value every child as a learner. And when I say that, you have to treat them all the same. And I know that there's going to be 1 or 2 students, special students that you will have to do certain things for regarding behavior management. There's always one or two that is going to need a little extra help. However, you have to value them all the same, value them as learners. They are all there to learn. They are your purpose. So you have to treat them all that way. And it's very important that we do that. With the expectations, once those expectations are taught on the first day and the next day, and you keep reviewing those expectations over and over and over and over, no matter how repetitive you think it is, how boring you think it is, you have to keep doing it. You have to be consistent. So you have to follow through. So if one of your expectations on the first day was, let's say, when we come in after lunch, we are to sit on the rug. We are not supposed to sit wherever we want. When we walk in, we walk to the rug. So that is your expectation of the students. Whenever we walk in, we sit on the rug. So let's say you get back from lunch and the students are standing in line outside the door, and you say, "This morning I told you my expectation was that when we walk in, you sit on the rug with the class." So as they walk in, you see, let's call her Sarah. She goes and sits wherever she wants, and you don't do anything about it. Well, if Sarah goes sits where she wants, then everybody's going to go sit where they want, and then you're going to get frustrated, and you're going to start nagging or yelling, and you're going to not understand, well, why is everyone sitting where they want? It's because you didn't follow through with Sarah. So if you are not consistent with what you say, so mean what you say, then that expectation is just going to go down the drain. It's not going to work. So you have to value every student. Treat them all the same. You can't let Sarah go sit where she wants, but the rest of the class is sitting on the rug. So what I would do in that situation, I would say to Sarah, "Sarah, my expectation is when we walk in the classroom, you are to go sit on the rug. So everybody is going to stand up, we're going to go back outside, and we're going to walk back in again." And you just say that in a calm, firm voice. You don't say it sarcastically, you don't say it rudely or disrespectfully. You say it in a calm, firm voice. This is what we're going to do. Have the class walk with her and show her that teamwork and that you're dedicated to doing it together. So then you practice again. Practice, 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 practice. Consistency, consistency, consistency. So when you have these expectations, the children know how to walk into the room after special. They know how to walk into the room after lunch. They know what to do in the morning, what their morning routine is. They know what their end of the day routine is. These are all expectations. They know what level voice that they're supposed to have when they're walking in the hallway, or they're not supposed to have a voice. You have to have those expectations, and you repeat them daily. You say in morning meeting, let's talk about one of our expectations we talked about yesterday. So you continue it all the time. So the children always know what they are expected to do. So when you have these expectations in place, that equals better behavior, more learning, and less hassle for the teacher. So that's less hassle for you, less work, less reminders, less behavior problems. When those expectations are set in place, you are set. You do not have to constantly remind students what they are supposed to be doing, because they know what they're supposed to be doing. So good classroom management, that's our first one, starts with setting those expectations. Number 2 is instruction. There has to be expectations within the instruction also. So for classroom management and for your classroom to be effective, you have to also consider your room setup, how you are going to set up that classroom for your students. Are they going to sit in groups? Are you going to do flexible seating? This all has to be prepared before they come in, so you can explain to them exactly where they're going to sit or how flexible seating works. You have to consider room setup with classroom management. How are you going to walk the room? How are they going to walk the room? How are they going to move around in centers? Walk the room, I was thinking of one of my first grade centers. They have to have ways to get through. There has to be space. So you have to set up those tables and chairs where they are able to walk around freely and where you are able to work the crowd, because you should always be moving. If you're sitting, they're going to do what they want. You have to always be walking around and working that crowd of students. There has to be expectations set up for guided practice, small group, early finishers, flexible seating. There has to be routines and procedures for all of those areas within your instruction. So when you're doing direct instruction, what's the expectations? When they're doing flexible seating, independent work, what's the expectations? So your room setup goes back to your expectations, okay? And then the last one I wanted to talk about was discipline. Within Fred Jones' book, he doesn't touch a lot on discipline because his whole point is, if you have the expectations set up, if you have the routines and procedures in place, you are not going to have to discipline. You are not going to have a behavior management program. You are not going to have to do that. If the students know what to expect from you, the students know what the routines are, it's going to be less work for you, and you're not going to be tired and feel burnt out and exhausted from the day because you are constantly telling the children what to do, when to do it, how to do it. So you're going to have a lot less discipline with good classroom management. You're going to have an effective instruction with good classroom management. However, with behavior, if you do have a couple students, and there always is one or two that they are special and you do have to do different things for them, there does have to be some type of consequence. So if they're not following through with your expectations, that could be a parent conference, a phone call home, there has to be some sort of consequence for behavior. And within the expectations and instruction, I said you have to mean business. So going back to say what you mean what you say, follow through, consequences. There are sometimes, for example, in my classroom, I mean business. I'm very firm with my students and they know what to expect. So sometimes all I would have to do is just give one of my students a look. I didn't have to, change their card or go on Class Dojo or do a flip chart. A clip chart, sorry. Sometimes all I'd have to do is give them the look. And that saves me so much time, because if I'm working with a student and I look over at a student that's talking and supposed to be doing their morning work, my look kind of just reminds them, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be doing my morning work. It brings that student back to what they're supposed to be doing, because they know the expectations in the morning when they come in to do the morning work. So sometimes just looking at them, they get right back to work. So that is much easier than, stopping what you're doing, going over to the child, reminding them, and going back to work with the child that you were with. And this all goes back to the first day. Are you being consistent with what you said on the first day of school? If the students aren't supposed to sharpen pencils and you take care of that at the end of the day, and Johnny got up and sharpened his pencil while you were instructing, are you being consistent with what you said on the first day of school, that we're not supposed to do that? So it's always going back to that. there are so many good behavior management systems out there. There, like I said, there's Class Dojo, there's using a clip chart. There's so many programs, wonderful books, wonderful resources, YouTube, and blogs and articles, and so many things out there that you can read, and or even just talking with your fellow teachers. However, I can hand you over the best classroom management program, but if you are not consistent with it, you don't do it day in and day out, and you don't follow through with it, and you don't mean business, it's not going to work. It's like, I think about it like when we go on diets, when we want that magic pill to make us lose weight instantly. But we have to put in the work. We have to diet and we have to exercise. So with classroom management, it's the same thing. Yes, there's all these wonderful programs and all these conferences that you can go to and that you can pay tons of money for and bring it back to your classroom. But 5 days later, when you're letting, 2 to 3 students, oh, it's okay, just, reminding them later on, or just go ahead and do it this time, but the next time, remember, you're not supposed to do that. You're done. It's over. That whole program is out the window. So consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Let me leave you with a couple more things. One more thing I wanted to talk about was motivation. That's a huge part of Fred Jones' book is motivation and engagement. Your students should have a reason to focus and pay attention. They should have a goal. They should know what the learning target is. And you should have a way of making the students responsible for their own learning. There is a way that I do that in my classroom, and that will be one of my upcoming videos, how my first graders are responsible for their own learning with their exit tickets, and how they receive a 1, 2, 3, or 4, and they have to go put that up on the board. So I'll be sharing that in one of my own videos. Another way to keep your students motivated is check their work while they're doing that. I could talk, that's a whole other video, but checking their work while they're doing it. So instead of having them work for 20 minutes and then they turn it in and you put it in your pile of papers to grade, well, they could have just wrote anything just because they get to get it done. So making them responsible for their own learning, you're checking it while they're doing it and handing it back to them and not accepting it because it's not what you said to do. So it's having them continue to work on it and just keeping them motivated so they will do what you ask them to do. And just them knowing what their goal is and why they should listen to you. So what are they learning? So they need to know that those learning targets need to be discussed, and not only what they're learning, but what are they going to do? So that should be all discussed at the beginning of the lesson to get them motivated for the lesson. And a couple quotes before I go, and I got these from the book, and they are so wonderful. So one of the teachers in the book said, "Success requires expertise." And all of these things, discipline, instruction, motivation, expectations, this is expertise that has to be consistent within your classroom. So love without expertise is powerless. Okay, so you can be the nicest, sweetest, kindest teacher and not have any expertise, and your class is not going to work. Your instruction is not going to be effective, okay, without classroom management. So we have to have both. We have to have love and expertise. So love without expertise is powerless. Love and expertise, we need both. We need both so our students learn. We need both so we are happy in the classroom and we want to come in every day and our students want to be there. We need both. So we need to be kind, respectful, loving, and have that expertise. Okay, so you have to mean business. So I will leave you with that. my next video, I will be referencing a book called The Power of Our Words. And then my following video, like I said, will be all about making students responsible for their learning. So I'm really excited. I'm so excited to talk to you about some good tips from this book, how we talk to our students. So join me in my next video. Please subscribe and make sure to like this video, and please share it out for other teachers. Please leave me all your questions and comments below. I will also have my email in the description box. If you want to email me, I would love to answer your questions, and I'm here to help. I love talking about classroom management. So I will see you in the next video, and thank you for watching my channel, Time to Teach. Bye everybody.